Welcome back to the second half of today's program on the Anti-Counterfeiting Global Law Summit. I'm James Nerton, for those of you that weren't here earlier. I'm looking forward to introducing this afternoon's speakers and panels. A lot of great content still to go in today's program. And don't forget, you can interact with the speakers using the questions button, which I think is just below your screen. And we certainly welcome any questions. We had some great questions and answers, I should say, this morning. And I'm sure we'll get some more with this afternoon's panels too. So our next speaker is Ilham Chahboune. She is with SICPA in Switzerland, where she works in business development, specializing in wine and spirits, luxury and cosmetics. And she's going to be telling us a bit more about that in her presentation now, and about some real-life experiences that brands have had using technology and other tools. So Ilham will speak for about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll have time for some questions. So I look forward to that. So Ilham, over to you now.
Okay, thank you very much, James. Thank you for the introductions. I'm really happy to be here with you and to be among you, all of you. And I hope for the one who had just lunch, so I hope you had a good lunch. My name is Ilham Chahboune, as James stated. I work for SICPA. We are based in Switzerland. We're a technology providers from materials to digital. And I've been working for SICPA for the last 7 years. And my role here at SICPA is to develop and as well provide our technologies to 3 segments: the wine and spirit, the cosmetic, and as well the luxury. And for the luxury, it's for the leather segment, textile segment, which is like ready to wear with some of like haute couture houses that we work with, and as well the watch industry. Of course, we're based in Switzerland, so most of our best watches that we can find, they're produced here in Switzerland. So the presentations of today, just like I told to James, and I do not like PowerPoint presentations, but I have to present it. So I'm going to try to make it more interesting for you, and I hope you will find it interesting, and you will and please don't hesitate to ask any questions, to interact. I will be really happy to to take your questions online or offline. So we'll get started. So the topics of today, we're not going to talk about which past technology is better. So I'm just going to share what I have been doing with some of my customers based from those 3 different segments, and how do they use how do they choose to use the solutions that it's good for them, that it's really going to help them. So before doing that, what they did, they asked simple questions. As we know, counterfeiting is one of the growing, I will not say like type of economic crimes, I will say like one of the growing segment. Today, the counterfeiting is becoming a competitor. Why is it becoming a competitor? Why is it growing? Why is it they're becoming stronger? I basically, what I did, I chose 4 main drivers of this growth for the competitors. You have the regional factors. Some of the companies, when they outsource, or like where they delocate their manufacturing, they lose basically the right on their trademark in their country if their trademark is not registered worldwide. That's one thing. And then, unfortunately, some of the consumers, they're complicit indirectly, if I will say, to this growth of the counterfeiting, because they know it's fake products, but they buy it, and especially when it comes to the luxury in the luxury segment, and as well the internet. The internet, yes, we can chase the counterfeiters on the internet, but be sure we close one site within the next 5 minutes, same site under a different name is opened. And more important for the attractiveness of those criminals, which is 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago, they used to be just someone in his garage trying to imitate a brand, and he's trying just to make some little extra money. Today, it's an industry. It's an industry that it's very attractive financially. They don't have to buy new equipment. They don't have to get an investment. They don't have to do a market research just like you and us do. They don't have to register an IP. They don't have to do anything of that. All what they do, they wait until the brand, a new brand or a new product hits the market, and they take it and they copy it. That's what they do. And these organizations, it goes beyond counterfeiting. It touches the money laundering. It touches the terrorism. It touches the slavery. It touches the child labor. You can name it. So what I'm saying here is really those are the conversations that I do have with my customers. They are aware of this problem, and they put all the necessary measures to basically to protect their brand. Something happened there. Because we're based in Switzerland, so I took a quote from the head of the legal divisions of the Federation of the Swiss watch industry. I'm illustrating an image or a pictures of watches, and they're becoming so sophisticated in terms of not just duplicating, but producing watches that nobody can really make the difference, even the experts themselves. And this, I mean, we see it in the watch, we see it in the wine and spirits, we see it in all the segments. So this is just like an example to show you, how the counterfeiters are increasing their sophistication. So it's becoming very sophisticated. So during my talk with my customers, and when I try to listen to them and see exactly what is at stake, what are they trying to resolve? Because there's so many things to resolve. And here I listed in a humble way, just like few examples, that it's the brand image, of course, the reputation, then you have the loss of revenue to the counterfeiters. Sometimes, unfortunately, I insist on that, some of the counterfeited products, they enter the supply chain of the brand owner. So there is a loss of revenue to the brand. And then, of course, we have the supply chain integrity. So when we talk with the customers, when I talk with the brand owners and they express what is at stake, so I try to understand if they know what are the threats. It's just like when you're taking your child and you're going to send him to his first day to school. The first thing that we tell to our children is that make sure that you cross the street properly, make sure that you protect yourself, make sure that you protect your sandwich, your lunchbox, make sure. So it is the same thing. So it is the same thing for a brand. So when we put a brand out there, when we come up with a new brand and we launch it in the market, so do we understand what are the threats that our brand might be facing? Will it be like at the product level? Will it be at the supply chain level? So when we talk about the product level, is it really someone is going to come and tamper this product, or it will really counterfeit the packaging? Or when we go to the supply chain, most of the brands, especially in the luxury and mainly as well in the cosmetic and the perfume segment, they outsource the manufacturing. So do we know that? Are we aware that we may have as well unauthorized productions? There is as well the diversion. So all those little threats that we really need to capture. For those threats, I have two real examples that I would like to share with you. It's like a very little short story. Some years ago, I was visiting a country. I was visiting some relatives, and we went to do shopping in a supermarket. It's an official supermarket. It's a big worldwide supermarket. Basically, you find them like everywhere on earth. And one thing that attracted my attention, that they had a sections for perfume and cosmetic. And I saw one of the perfume that my mom used, and it's one of the premium. So I was like, interesting. They're selling a premium brand in a supermarket. So I approached them, I looked and I saw the price. It's really 5 times cheaper. So what I did, I bought the 2 products. I bought two perfumes. I brought them back with me to the office here in Switzerland. And I shared them with our engineers, with our specialists, and I told them, can we check if can we look if there is like a difference between a fake and a genuine? While I gave them a third bottle that it was a genuine, and believe it or not, we were unable to make the difference between the two. This is something, so I believe my experience, I think most of us experience that as well, just like sometimes we pay attention, sometimes we don't pay attention. One of the threats as well, that it comes as well from the supply chain. One of our customers that we have been working with, and he's been using our technology for the last 15 years, 15 years ago, they realized that they had an unauthorized production. So basically they send all the raw materials, they send the leather, they send the sketch of the product, and it's still somehow, they do find some of their product that it's not, that it enters the supply chain. So there, I think what we need to understand is really to understand the magnitude of the counterfeiting, the growth of the counterfeiters, and as well, what is at stake for the brand owner. This is really fundamental. And as well, what are the threats that the brand may be facing? So while talking with my customers based on we come to prevention. Prevention is the key today for every business, for every segment. Why? Because yesterday, we used to have competitors, a brand owner versus a brand owner, technology provider versus technology provider. Today, it's not a story, it changed. Today, we have competitors that it's a real segment, that are growing, they're becoming stronger, they're becoming sophisticated, they're becoming accessible. Basically, we see it in our life day to day. So prevention, this is the key that I kept, and then I got from my customers that I work with, which is they are the leaders in their field. It's prevention. If we cannot wait until the issue arises. We need to make sure that we are protecting our brand, we are empowering our brand or our product to be there in the market, and as well, we are putting all the security measures. It can be any type of security, but as long as we are aware that prevention is the key, this is the most important. The next slide is not too long. So basically is really to share how do they come up to distinguish or to choose the right solutions for their product, for their need. Is what they do it, first of all, they have to put a strategy. Every brand owner that we work with and who are very successful in defeating the counterfeiters and seize the product in the counterfeited product in the market, and they take it to court, and they have basically all the proof, and then they can even monitor where the counterfeiting is happening, either at the brand level or at the consumer level. Basically, they have a strong, robust strategy. And this strategy, it started with the objectives of the company. What the company will do. What is at stake? Just like I stated in the beginning of these presentations. What are the level of the threats and as well the sophistications of the counterfeiting? So is it geographic? Meanings, what I mean by that is that some of our brands, they have issues in a very specific continent, which is, I will not name them today. So they said geographically, we know that we do have a lot of counterfeiting raising there. Or sometimes they have organized network, meaning that there is one very specific a hub of counterfeiting that they are literally dispatching the product worldwide. So it's all at the end of the day, it comes to the strategy. And then once they have all this strategy is defined, then the brand owner decide which solution I'm going to use. Is it a counterfeiting solutions, meaning authentications, meaning I'm going to need something to authenticate my product, or I need something that will identify my product. So this is what it comes to, like I said, it all depends of the threats that the brand is facing. Is it directly an impact on the product or directly impact on the supply chain. And knowing that the supply chain, there is a diversion issue that a lot of brands owners, they suffer from, and especially when it comes to basically in the cosmetic and in the wine industry. So we go to the brand-centric technology. The brand-centric technology, it's intent for authentications and inspections in the field. Today, there's so many ways of doing inspections of the field. There's so many ways of going and detecting where the counterfeited is happening. There's so many ways, but the most dynamic and the most, I'm going to say, digitalized way is that when you have a solutions that it's invisible solutions, that it's only the brand owner knows about these invisible solutions or this invisible security features that it's embedded in the product or on the product, and which is, it gives the tool to the inspectors, either internally or an inspection agency. They go, they check in the field what it does. We digitalize the inspections in the field. It's the collections of a real data from the market. Basically, it's monitor the heat map, meaning that you can see all where the counterfeiting is happening and where all your real product is landing as well. And as well, it helps as well to bring this legal proof in court. So when you seize a product, when you seize a product that gives you, because of this invisible security feature that you have in your product or on the product, it gives you the legal proof that you can take to court. So this is free from the brand-centric technology. Brand-centric technology, it's made only and only for the brand owner. They are the only stakeholders who will know about this technology. Some of our brand owners that we work with, basically, it's restricted. Like, for instance, you have a department who will be choosing the solutions, but the department will be collecting the information. Is completely different department. It's not the same department. And then if we go to consumer-centric technology, what it allows to do the verifications with the smartphone. Always you need to combine it with a material base, a material overt security features that it's always combined with the digital features. So today, just putting one digital without a security element, that it's an overt where the consumer will trust the brand that he has in his hand, that he will help you as well through the consumers, you will collect the data as well from the market. It will as well help you to build this heat map and track really the counterfeiting in the market. So there is the two solutions, the two technologies are useful. It's really based on your strategy, on the threats, and how do you want to tackle it. So this is what us here at SICPA, we have been working with our customers, and this is really based on a real experience from the customers. Any questions? James, I think we're done.
Well, thank you very much, Ilham. And I know you said you didn't like PowerPoint, but there were some great slides in there.
Thank
and very good to look at as well as to listen to. So I think we have got some questions, and picking up on a few of your points. So we'll go through them. We've got, I think, about 10 minutes or so left. So very interesting talking about prevention and the different strategies. And I think you said that sort of starts with knowledge and understanding. But it's very hard to understand the scale of something that is basically illegal. Counterfeiters don't declare, what they're doing. So how do brand owners go about understanding the scale of the problem? And I know there are some initiatives, the OECD, the EU IPO Observatory, they're taking steps to try and analyze the scale of the problem. Do you think they're useful? Do you think more information is needed?
Those sort of, it's because of the information. That's how the brand owner as well get to know as well the magnitude of the counterfeiting. So basically, when sometimes I see it here in Switzerland, there are a lot of, basically at the customs, they seize a lot of products. So when they seize the product, immediately, some of them, they contact the brand owners just to verify. One of the experience that we had with one of our brand owners that we work with, basically his container, the full container was seized somewhere, I'm not going to say where, but it was seized, and then they were contacted and they were able really to identify if the product was genuine or not based on the technology that they used. Yes, it's very, very helpful. I think it's a must.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. And that technology must be improving all the time, I guess.
Yes, I mean, it's, I mean, the competitors, like really, when I say the competitors are becoming a real segment, they are almost like ahead of us. This is what we talk with my customers. So basically, they were like, Ilham, how can I be ahead of the competitors, like 2, 3 years, 5 years ahead of them? So yes, I mean, the threat is there. It's a real threat. We should not ignore it. It's affecting everybody. So we just need to be ahead of it and then have a strong, and I recommend it based on the experience, my humble experience I had with my customers. It's mandatory to have a strong strategy, a brand protection strategy. It's mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if you have that effective strategy, everything else follows on from that, I guess. So you know exactly what your targets are and what is realistic and how you can achieve your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well as strategy, basically, it becomes like a family affair. It's not only one department. So everyone is involved. It goes from procurement, from marketing, from corporate affairs, from legal, from supply chain. So everyone is aware of the problem. Everyone is aware that the product is at risk. So everyone contributes internally to this strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an interesting point I think that Tapio made on his presentation this morning as well, about the interrelationship between different parts of the business. I mean, some people, I think the brand-centric technology that you described is obviously very interesting. Some people might wonder, that's obviously very useful for high-value items, high-value brands. Is it also, which are, obviously very vulnerable to counterfeiting in the luxury sector and in other sectors? Is it also useful for the kind of, more mass-produced, fast-moving consumer goods, those kind of things, which are also counterfeited?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, we supply all the segments. So we go from pharma to food industry to electronics industry. I mean, basically, it is the same solutions. It's the thing is that there are different segments. Yes, indeed. We have like the product has a different value. Yes, indeed, it's true. But they have the same problems. They're facing the same issue. So I think the reason that every time that we say, oh, well, maybe, the brand-centric technology, it's mainly made for only the high value products, that is not, I would not agree with that. I would not say that is not true, but I would not agree with that. So we're looking here from the cost. So I think we need to put the cost on the side and just like really focus, what is the value of the solutions that you're going to apply? So there are so many brand-centric technologies out there. So, but they fit all the segment and all the products as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, and that brings us on to some of the questions we've had from the audience. So one says, there are these different brand-centric technologies. How do you decide which is appropriate for which brand? And, do you look at the results? Can you look at, what is going to be most effective?
Yes, absolutely. One of the assessment that we did, basically us as a technology providers, of course, I mean, we're going to push for our portfolio, which is very normal. That's what we do every day. But the point today, that's not what we're going to talk about it. So basically, based on the experience that I had with two of recent brand owners, how they assess which brand technology they need. There is an assessment, which is, it takes me back again to strategy. So there is an assessment that the brand owners needs to do. So will it, like, if I introduce a brand-centric technology, what do I need? I need to collect data from the market. I need to shorten the inspections in the field. I need to be quick and fast. I need to be discreet. So all those elements, they need to be taken into considerations. And this is how the brand owner will decide which brand-centric technology he needs. there is an assessment that needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really going to be you need to look at the details and look at the particular threats and where your brand sits.
Yes.
Good, and we've got some more questions. There's still time for anyone who would like to send in a question for Ilham, and we'll try and squeeze it in. But so another one actually, which also picks up on a point that was discussed this morning, is about return on investment. And there's a lot of pressure, or there's a lot of interest among brand owners internally on being able to demonstrate, the value of anti-counterfeiting internally within their companies. So how can you demonstrate the return on investment, with these kind of technologies?
So if you go into the prevention, set of mind, then you ask the right questions. So what are the threats? What is at risk? What is at stake? Just like what we said in the beginning, does the brand reputations and image has a cost? Absolutely. That's your return on investment. That's like you lose your revenue to the counterfeiting. That is your return on investment as well. So I think most of the time, which is I experienced, for the last 7 years that I've been here with SICPA, where we're talking directly with the customers, and being a technology provider myself today, is that what is going to be my return on investment if I'm going to use such and such technology? But I think we need to turn the questions around. So what is at risk? Today, the counterfeiters, they're not asking about what is my return on investment. They know that you're going to put your product out there in the market. The next day, it's going to be copied, period.
Okay, thank you. Another question that's come in is about AI and blockchain. So we've heard a little bit about AI and blockchain already today, and obviously there's a lot of hope that they will deliver, if not solutions, at least helpful tools for brand owners. Do you see AI and blockchain being used at the moment or in the future in these kind of tools?
I think basically, of course, there is a room for every technology, and every technology involved, and every technology becomes stronger and robust. Yes, the blockchain, it has its place in the segment that we're talking about, but it has to be combined with something else. So we cannot put the digital by itself if you don't have a material, because when you need like a legal proof, it's not the blockchain who's going to prove in court that this is your product. It's a combination. So there is, here again, all the technologies are good, but you need to make sure you understand what is your need and how you can apply them. This is the most important.
So it comes back, as you said, to the strategy, and the strategy must come first, and then the tools come on top of it.
Absolutely.
I was also interested in what you were saying about the quality of counterfeits and how difficult. I think you mentioned perfumes. It can be very difficult to tell what are genuine and what are not genuine. Do you think, is that a real concern? Is that getting more difficult, as counterfeiters become more sophisticated?
Yes, it is becoming, because we see it with our customers from the cosmetic, from the perfume industry as well. Mainly like from all the segments. The counterfeiters, they're becoming very, very sophisticated, because today they have access to technology easily. And like I said, those are like criminal organizations. Those are not just like little guys. The little guy of 20 years ago, he became like a big guy, and a big angry guy. And like we say in French, très méchant. So basically, they know what they're doing. So they will go after every brand that they will see there is a benefit from it. It touches, and especially anything that has to do with a product that is going to touch your skin. It's a dramatic, like in terms from health and safety to the consumers. So the threat is there, and I can see, and especially during the pandemic, I can assure you, we had a lot of demand from different brands, from different segments, because the counterfeiting, it went straight up.
And does that mean that brands have to be constantly developing and adopting new technology as well to stay ahead? And as the counterfeiters, tackle one area, the brands have to find somewhere else.
I think what they need to do, I think for this is based what we see with the brand owners that we talk to. When you have, it's going to take me again to the strong strategy. When you have a very strong strategy and you understand exactly what you're going to deliver, what you're going to resolve, and what are the benefits. So what are you getting out from there? Every brand finds the right technology for them. We have customers that they've been working with us for the last 15, 16 years. And we have customers that, you know what, our contract durations, it's moving from 3 years to 10 years. So it's just like you need to find the right shoe, if I can say.
It seems like a very appropriate point on which to end, particularly we're talking about luxury items and so on. So thank you very much indeed, and thank you for tackling all of those questions which have come in, and to those of you who sent them in as well. So Ilham, it's been a really interesting half an hour. Thank you very much indeed. It's been very good to have you with us, and some great insights there into the technology and the role of strategy and strategic
thinking. Thank you so much, James. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And my pleasure. And I hope it was helpful. Hope to see you soon, and in real life, huh?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
We're all looking forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye bye, everyone.